Censorship has been a big topic of discussion in the Wuthering Waves community the past week or so, and now we've seen over the course of the last few days that new information has come to light surrounding a certain group of quote-unquote Hoyo Shills in the CN community that are allegedly disrupting the peace amongst gacha games. It's been claimed that this specific group is the reason why WUWA has had to raise their age ratings in some countries and censor the game against their will. Over the last few days, I've heard a lot of people come into my streams and in my comments claim outright it's the Hoyoshills that are causing the censorship changes and that I need to call it out and cover it. But I'm going to be totally honest. I've not seen enough actual evidence of it happening. Only claims made by a wiki page and a Twitter thread that don't really show any actual proof. But nonetheless, I reacted to Saintontus's video on the matter and tried to give a whole neutral, objective take on the whole situation. No war, just trying to give a honest, non-biased take on the matter. CN Hoyoshills sabotage WUWA 2.2.
And gentlemen, it is pretty safe to say that there are a lot of people that are very unhappy with the censorship situation that has been going on in Wuthering Waves. If you're not familiar with the initial set of changes, you can go ahead and watch my video over here. The Cantarella situation is crazy. And what this video does is it dives into all of the different intricacies going on behind that censorship, with WUWA now being rated a 16+ game in regions outside of the US, with changes being made to models like Cantarella's, where her fabric scene has been removed with the old and the new going from left to right, as well as a nerf, or you know, a change to Cortithia or Fleur de Lis.
I love we're calling complete Elise's like changing clothing a nerf. I just love that phrasing. I'll be real. I love the phrasing of calling it a nerf.
Here we go!
It's just a nerf.
Lisa's model, where her outfit has been adjusted to spats below the waist. And so a lot of stuff has been going on. There's been a lot of discourse with the whole 16+ rating happening overall being one of the biggest blows that can occur for a game. This means that Wuthering Waves, right, is losing a lot of sponsors. It's losing a lot of potential marketability. We have to think about how WUWA, right, was one of those games that was actively advertised in Times Square and potentially, right, in very public areas within countries like CN or maybe even Korea or Japan as well. With the rating actually being increased, it's not surprising to imagine that a lot of those partnerships have pulled out, right? Think about all of those collab outfits we've seen, all of those public advertisements. There's a lot less money and a lot less marketability happening for this game. And it turns out that all the censorship, you know, the new stuff that's going on to get it fixed, to get that rating down to 12.
Also, it's like, you have to be wary that the age rating changes depending on what country you're in. So some countries it's still like 12+, and for others it's 16. Like in the UK it's 16. So it changes, you know, depending where you are in the world.
Is happening maybe not because of like how spicy it is in game, but because of the massive amount of brigading that Wuthering Waves has undergone in the past couple of days, or really the past couple of weeks since 2.2 has launched. And boy, oh boy, there's been a lot of posts about it. There's been a lot of glue and a lot of investigación by members of the CN community. We've got a post by Ofa here on Twitter talking about how some say the likes of PGR, Punishing Grey Raven, and Snowbreak are too small. They're not really big enough of games to get censored. And in a sense, that's right. But it's not really because of that. That's not really the reason why this censorship or these mass reports are happening.
Nikkei 12+. I genuinely wonder if it's 12+. Simply because you don't have like 3D models you can like fully quote-unquote explore. Same thing with Love and Deep Space. You don't have 3D models that you can like, I don't know. I do want to know why a game like Lads is still 12+, you know, and Nikkei's 12+. I don't have the answer. I would love to know. I would love to know. Nikkei has no CN, right? Are they not in China? But that doesn't change the age rating of the countries themselves, right? CN hasn't said, oh, WUWA needs to be 16+ in the UK. The UK government, like Peggy, whatever it is, said it's 16. No one cares enough to report them. Because Lads is naked men and not women. Rounders 2 adventure RPG. 12+. 12 plus is crazy.
Really, it's because nobody reports them. And the CCP itself, right, the governing body of China, doesn't really care until there's a lot of public reports for something. And according to what we're seeing over here, many reported the game as early as the 2.2 launch. And so here's a translation of a post that we've been seeing over here. The game Ming Chao, or really Wuthering Waves, contains a lot of obscene and pornographic female images with extremely revealing and vulgar clothing, and the game PV repeatedly contains extremely explicit pornographic innuendos, especially the latest demo, which is Cantarella's and, you know, what she does with her tongue. And so this is just one example of a post we've seen, right, for a report. And believe me when I say there's more. And people have done some investigation. They've done some digging to find out who some of the culprits are for this level of brigading to, let's be honest here, a government body like the CCP. We've got this post by Amatsu Magatsu. To not offend anybody, I'm just gonna stop trying to pronounce that name. So the censorship on PGR and WuWa is because haters are mass reporting KURO games. There's a +16 rating now, and also a hentai tag on Steam, which now makes a little bit more sense.
Is that actually true? I thought people were joking. I actually thought people were joking. Rover. Oh my fucking god, let's check. Is it? Oh my god, wait, there is. Oh my god. These are tags applied to the product by the most users. You can click a tag to find other products with that tag applied. So they have to get the tag by other people using it, but it's not even out. It's not even out. Why does it have a hentai tag? Why does it have a hentai tag? People can't even rate it yet. People can't even rate it. So like, did they do it themselves? Like how? 8 curators have reviewed this product. Click here to see them. Follow. What the fuck? Informational? No. This is a gacha game. Gacha game? Is it a gacha game? Cash. What is going on?
Hence how those labels are being added. Even guides on how to report KURO games. And yet they want to point KURO players as toxic for being negative.
But my point being, how can you add tags if the game isn't out yet? Like how would, if the tags are there because it's what the most users use, how are they even there when the game's not even out?
There are individuals in the community that are creating how-to guides on how to report Wuthering Waves 2.2 to the CCP. And if you don't believe me, right, because it's pretty clear you might not believe me because this is in Chinese and you might not understand Chinese because this video is uploaded on YouTube and not Billy, let's use Google Lens to get to the bottom of this one. First post over here. The department that manages games is the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. You can search for it to find the official website, go over there, and then go to the reporting system at the bottom. Then you want to select report for cultural relics and other illegal activities. Basically, I don't really need to dive into this too deep. They're essentially providing you the exact steps necessary to report this to the government body, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. That's probably a mistranslation of some kind. And they're giving you the exact steps required to get all of it done. The posts are being mass upvoted, right? 52 over.
Also, you have to be aware, there's a lot of CN people in general who just don't like nudity, right? There's a lot of people CN that don't like nudity. You have to be mindful, okay? Porn is banned in China, right? You have to remember porn is banned in China, right? It's illegal. It's illegal. You can be jailed for it. Literally, it's illegal. You cannot watch it. You can be jailed for it. And there was a thing with Love and Deep Space whereby people thought it was basically porn, and there was a huge movement to try and get it censored. There was a huge movement to try and get it censored, which is why, you know, they skirt around the rules and make it as lewd as possible. And to the point where there was a guy, an actual rapper, who made a diss track in China against Love and Deep Space because they thought it was poisoning the youth. It was too Guna. It was too Guna. It was going to ruin kids' lives because it was too explicit. And I kind of wonder if a similar thing is happening here. They see something that's too explicit, too revealing, they think it's porn, and they're like, porn is bad, porn is evil. So I kind of think we can, I know a lot of us are KURO people and we can point to the quote-unquote Hoyoshills and say it's them. We can do that, but I also think there is a legitimate thing where the game is becoming, let's be real, Wuthering Waves is a bigger game than Brown Dust 2. War is a bigger game than Brown Dust 2, like immensely so. And I think it's a mix of everything. I think there's a lot of people in CN who think some of it is too revealing. Cantarella was extremely Guna bait, right? Like, whether or not she's a great character or not, she is a Guna character. I really do think her presence and her involvement into the game, a lot of CN people don't like, because it is too it's really Guna, right? And I think they're just like, we don't like this, because in China you could be jailed for looking at porn or having porn or owning it. It's a really fucking big deal. It's a really big deal
for here, and then a 54 over here as well with a bit of a follow-up on it, and they're just going ahead and they're starting this brigade.
What about ZZZ then? The thing with the ZZZ characters, they might have big asses and big titties, but they're kind of actually covered up. That's the thing. I think that's the difference here. I think because Cantarella, her titties are kind of on full show almost. You don't really have that in ZZZ. They have them big, but they don't have them like actually showing. They're covered in clothing. Look at Jane Doe. She still is covered in clothing, right? Is she Guna? Yes, but she's like fully clothed. She's fully clothed, right? She doesn't have her tits out or anything like that. You don't have like, you know, whatever like Cantarella had. She has a seam going down her shorts, but it doesn't look like a camel toe that like Cantarella's did, right? Astro Yao. Again, I don't think she has her boobies out like Cantarella did. I don't think she has her boobies out like Cantarella did. I'll be real. I think this is a very normal outfit. Every character in ZZZ is goonable, but like they're fully clothed. And I think Cantarella... Oh, wait, that could have been bad. She's just, you know, maybe it's too much. Maybe they just crossed the line a bit too much with her. Maybe they crossed the line a little bit too much. Who knows?
Boy, oh boy. You can imagine the type of backlash, right? You can imagine the type of consequences that can...
Check out the replies of this guy and say there are no bots. Won't give you another cent till the censorship gets removed. Please get a life. Please, I beg you, get a life.
Can result from something like this, because one thing is very clear when it comes to the differences in player bases between Hoyoverse games, Genshin Impact specifically, and Wuthering Waves. We already know from a lot of the past occurrences. We only have to think about the live streams for Wuthering Waves, right? Live streams for Wuthering Waves oftentimes get brigaded by these Hoyoshills, by the
Give me my fat ass and camel toe back, KURO. KURO, give me my fat ass and camel toe back. Grr, I'm not spending any money in your game. I refuse to spend money in your game unless you give me Cantarella's pussy flaps back.
These Genshin fans talking about Wuthering Waves is a dying game. Come play Genshin Impact today.
Give her lips back. She can't sing. Oh my god, ew.
And they'll copy and paste and spam the message over and over and over again on every single live stream that the game has, from 1.1 or really 1.3 all the way until 2.2. They've been doing it over and over and over.
That's fucking wild.
And the thing is, if you can imagine that that's what's happening in EN, that's what's happening in JP, that's what's happening in KR, it's happening a shit ton more in CN. Because boy, oh boy, we all know firsthand how absurdly unhinged the CN part of the Genshin player base can be. We know all about how they did things like cats that look like Scaramouche, how they've sent assassins to
listen, I like Saint, I appreciate Saint. I just don't know how we can confidently say it's like Hoyo people. Like, is there evidence to suggest that it is Hoyo people? Because right now this is like speculation, right? You guys know I like to be neutral and I like to see all the evidence. What is the evidence that this is Hoyo people?
Way for making Playboy bunny skins for characters in Honkai Impact 3. They've done some absolutely absurd things that have already pushed the envelope far past what we're seeing over here. And so it is not hard to imagine. It is not hard to imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that they've gone ahead and started mass reporting the game because it's got or had a couple of spicy textures or a couple of spicy outfits added in version 2.2. It's pretty clear what's going on over here, because this whole rating change, right? This loss of sponsorships, this loss of marketability, it all occurred after the release of 2.2.
Because like, I think we have to keep in mind, right, that there's also the case there might be a separate movement that Hoyoshills, quote unquote, could bandwagon off of. They could definitely signal boost something But to make the claim that it might be them directly is something else. I could definitely see people who are like very like Hoyo that hate Woowa to hop onto a movement and kind of maybe claim it in some way. I could see that being a thing for sure. But I just need to, I want to see the other dance, right?
It wasn't any offending content in the game that was updated.
Yeah, who else would it be, guys? Like I just said, in Love and Deep Space, there was a huge movement to get the whole game censored and banned and removed in China for it being too Guna. People in China just don't like really Guna things. Porn is illegal, right? It's very strict. It's very strict. There are a lot of people in general who just don't like explicit things there. That's just a fact. It's not just Hoyo. A lot of people, parents, just don't like explicit things.
All in the most recent censorship patch, it was just these two things. Maybe there's more that we just haven't found yet, but these are the main ones that have caught people's eye. And when we're seeing these translations, we're seeing these detailed instructions from certain members of the community on how to get all of this sabotage done. Boy, oh boy, it's a little bit of a messy situation. But this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen, there's more. There is more. We have a post by Echo Retro over here giving us some solid proof. You all want to read this. I found it on X and Facebook. Many are sharing this thing. It seems some kind of organization of MiHoYo fans who nitpick other games. And so this is a bit of like a suspicious link. Some people said it's like Chinese spyware, so I'm just not gonna go ahead and click on it. But we've got a fully translated excerpt from that exact page detailing us on what exactly this entire organization is. And so with that, I'm gonna take you all on an adventure. I'm gonna take you all on a journey to find out what the fuck is actually going on with all of this brigading. So let's just dive right on into it. So the organization is called Censorship. Hopefully I'm not gonna lose like 600 social credit points for pronouncing it that way. What is Censorship? We're just calling it XJJ. XJJ is currently the most extreme group of MiHoYo fans, MXZ, that has mutated from the broader fan base. It is the only group of this kind that has been possibly formed, and indeed has already formed among all mobile game player circles. They literally have their own wiki page on what is going on. And so among all the mobile games, anime style games, any game player circle, or really any circle whatsoever, except for celebrities, this has a group count of maybe 20k people or more that are dedicated to just astroturfing games, mass reporting them, trying to cause strife, trying to cause conflict, and basically lower the reputation of anything that isn't a MiHoYo title. 20k people is a lot. I'm gonna be real here, ladies and gentlemen. You can do a lot of damage with just 20k people in a concentrated effort, right? Imagine a Reddit post immediately going up to like 20k upvotes and then dominating the front page of something, right? And then immediately becoming the first thing that millions of people see. A 20k immediately like post on like Twitter or like Zhao Hongzhu, right? Or any of the
I really doubt that 20,000 people in the group are all liking the posts at the same time. But again, I'm gonna keep watching and seeing what happens. What the truth is.
Other social media sites that they have a huge platform of just a bunch of complete freaks who are dedicated to something that nobody should have this much vigor for. So what's the composition of XJJ? It consists of entirely pure MiHoYo fans. They either exclusively play MiHoYo games, or if they play multiple, they constantly nitpick other games while finding ways to prove that MiHoYo is superior. And one way that they can prove MiHoYo is superior is by labeling Wuthering Waves, right, as a 16+ game. Oh, this game is just porn. Why would you play this game that's just porn? If you play this game, you're now a degenerate. You're somebody that's like lower on the rung in human society just for associating yourself with Wuwa. That's an incredibly easy framing for these absolute losers to do, right? And then, you know, combine that with the loss of sponsorship, etc., etc. It seems that XJJ has a higher proportion of HI3 players compared to Genshin Impact, possibly because HI3 has a longer history of, I love how they put quotes around this, purifying its player base, resulting in a stronger
player base. What does that mean? Purifying its player base? What are we saying? What does that mean? Huh?
Basically isolating out and making sure that you only have a bunch of actual losers still playing the title. Let me give you a little bit of context on HI3. HI3 basically got I already mentioned the bunny girl suit incident, right? They also prevented the addition of male characters to the game during the Flame Chaser arc, which was considered one of the best arcs in Honkai Impact 3. They prevented the addition of male characters in the game because those guys are just so focused on their waifus and they're that mentally ill, and they didn't let it happen. Only those who are fanatically devoted to Mihoyo would become a part of XJJ, and HI3 has the intensity to achieve this level of devotion. We've already talked about the examples there. Thus, if HI3 is criticized, XJJ tends to react more aggressively than if GI, Genshin Impact, is targeted. XJJ may claim they are not MXC, but rather fun seekers or rational Mihoyo critics. However, their actions reveal they're just diehard Mihoyo fans. While they always target things that are unfavorable, right? An absurdly overpowered character announcement, negative Mihoyo news being exposed, or players criticizing Hoyo's decisions in posts or videos, they always find excuses that aren't about defending Hoyo, but really just like preventing attacks or stopping the spread of, you know, like misinformation through insults. And so they're clearly really heavily playing for one side and trying to either downplay any critiques or just attack other games. That is really what's going on over here. And they've built up a reputation. They have their own goddamn wiki page about them. You could say it's an online terrorist group at this point, but maybe that's going a little bit too far. But maybe that's a label we should think about. XJJ.
I want more information about this group. I want more information about this group. I want to see like some receipts of them like talking about it, actually organizing something, maybe like a brigade or like something like that, like some kind of proof. Because right now, we just have to take this for like people's word right now, right? We have to take some people's word. I feel like it would actually be easier just to make bots than to get a whole community of like 20,000 people. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to know what's going on here, and why, for sure.
Jay also likes to pose. AstroTurf. They like to pose as players of other games.
You're doing a whole virtual
like
machine? Oh, damn.
TOF,
Bro's doing his due diligence.
Since they constantly portray these games as rivals. And what's one thing you can't have when it comes to a Mihoyo game? Competition. Because God forbid Hoyo games get better because of competition, right? And they believe that by pretending to be a part of these communities, they can't clear Mihoyo's name being a part of those communities, but they can at least drag those other communities down with them. Yep. So moving on to the next part of this sequence. This is a 1 of 4. Do keep that in mind. XJJ also... Oh, yeah. So we already talked about that one over there. It's just a continuation, just letting you know where we left off. Roughly speaking, XJJ can be divided into two types. The Esu faction and the non-Esu faction. With the Esu faction being literally, these are individuals who frequently engage in doxing. So yeah, we're starting off real strong with this one.
Okay, and doxing right out the gate is crazy.
Strong to this one. Referred to as opening gift boxes. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes like the Chinese language can be so beautiful, and just the way that they're able to like word certain phrases, like the fact that they've managed to take something as bad as doxing and turn it into like as flowery as opening gift box.
Yeah, the Chinese language is a language full of idioms. Like everything is an idiom. That's why it's a really hard language to ever learn, because everything is written in ways that doesn't make sense. Like if you literally translate like Mandarin or Chinese most of the time, you'll be fucking confused. You will be confused. You'll be like, what the fuck does this mean? It won't make sense because they use idioms all the fucking time. And yeah, it's great.
Is absolutely fucking insane on public platforms like Bilibili.
Yeah, Asian languages in general, for sure.
Overall community, right? They either actively post others' users' private information, they create mocking content like singing videos with the victims' faces, or enthusiastically share, amplify, like, and comment in support of such content. Yeah, so basically embarrassing other people, dragging down their reputation, doing a lot of stinky shit to anybody, right, who stands in their way. Believe me when I say, if let's just say you're a Wuthering Waves content creator in CN who maybe like shows their face, who's very active, right? I would imagine that this Esu faction that's showing up over here would likely make you a target. And that's when the doxing and then the gift boxes will appear for you. There are an estimated 500 plus accounts involved. Since XJJ members often operate on multiple alt accounts, this isn't a head count. But yeah, 500 plus accounts purely dedicated to doxing and essentially ruining the lives of people over a video game is
that is wild.
Pretty crazy. Then you got the non-Esu faction, which is led by prominent figures XX Fame, Pioneer Paimon's BBQ Shop. I don't really know any of these, but they're being referred to as like MiHoYo's kernels. And this faction represents the public face of XJJ, right? These are sort of like the insurgents. The SU faction is like the insurgents behind the scene, trying to like ruin people's lives, while the non-SU one is like the righteous. So we're the do-gooders of the community, right? And they're like the outward face that allows this this group in subterfuge, right, to operate in private. So this is
Paimon's leading it. Yeah, Paimon themselves are leading this. Yeah.
Face. They portray the group as innocent, righteous, and self-sacrificing within the MiHoYo player community. Ordinary MiHoYo players who believe XJJ's propaganda and newly joined the group also fall into the category, right? Because these guys are going ahead and they're framing themselves as, you know, genuinely like good people who just like love the game, and people who end up absorbing the kind of bullshit that they're saying will end up falling into this group. But that doesn't mean everybody in this group is necessarily a bad person. They could also, let's just be real here, they could also just be stupid, and stupidity isn't a crime. However, this doesn't mean the non-SU faction opposes SU activities. They either don't know that XJJ engages in reckless doxing against the critics, or they quietly support it behind the scenes. The leaders of this faction avoid directly sharing or amplifying this sort of content. And so, like I said, right, this all could just be some strongly worded fan fiction, right? But when we've seen all of the stuff that happens, all of the public witch hunts that occur in CN, all of the terrible news that CN is always involved in when it comes to like astroturfing and then like ruined careers, all of that, there's so much of it. And so it makes sense that the leaders of like the righteous side don't directly engage with the people that are doxing and, you know.
Yeah, that seems, yeah, that honestly, it does sound fucked up. Like, it does sound like pretty fucked up. Like, who knows? Like, there's probably some politics that goes involved. Who knows if these prominent figures, right, condone or support the ISU faction, right? Who knows if they support the doxing, they're actually in favor of it or not. I think there's a lot of law involved in this, a lot of politics that we cannot say for certain what is true or not. Because it could be the case the group is mainly like normal people who are just like a bit too passionate about Hoyo, and then there are a couple people who are like actual shitheads in the community, and you kind of have that in every community. You have the people that are like kind of normal, just there to support a game they like, and then you have fucking shitheads too, right? So I'm wondering, will for it to be spread out in factions like this, there's gonna be some like interpersonal like drama politics going on here that isn't really described of why it's like this. So there must be like actual law involved in all of this. 24k people as a group for CN is nothing. Oh yeah, like you have to remember CN is fucking massive, right? Do you know what we're gonna do? Do you know what we're gonna do? Actually, we're gonna go on, after this video, we're gonna go on Chinese social media. I have a Red Note account, okay? I was an account that had nothing. I had an account that had nothing. I made one post about Love and Deep Space, and it has over 10,000 likes. It has over 10,000 likes, and it has 205 comments. I was an account that had no one. It was about Love and Deep Space. It was because of Love and Deep Space. There were a lot of people in CN who were reposting my Love and Deep Space content in CN, right? There were so many of them, and then my content got reposted so much in CN on Bilibili, Xiaohongshu. They were all like, someone reached out to me and was like, oh, hey, I'm from like China. People are like reposting your work everywhere. You should make like a Xiaohongshu account, right? I'm like, okay, bet. And I did. I made one post and it got 10,000 likes. There are so many people in CN, it's unreal. Not even like America, Europe, everyone combined, right? They have more people. 20,000 isn't a lot. What are people saying currently about the game? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. We will go on a deep dive. We will go on a deep dive. Okay. For what people have to say. The preview is out before the first half is over. Zanny, the little square head, give me more money to friends, so the secret modification of the model is over. Look, there's someone talking about the secret modification of the model is over. People talking about censorship. Don't forget, I've translated this, right? This is like auto-translated. Uncle baby, where are you? So cute. One in each bite. I want to smoke Zanny. The small square is necessary. What is the number of Zanny pool? Is this person revelation accurate? So cute. Zanny still sleeping. The underwear is about to be exposed. The underwear is about to be exposed.
Ruining people's careers, but they're intrinsically linked, or at least thus so claimed on that wiki page. Let's move on to part 3. So when it comes to their behavior, XJJ used to have tags like I'm not going to try to pronounce that. And with the blaze on Bilibili to coordinate.
I'm gonna have to go on Bilibili. This is a lot of this kind of like using the models. This is a lot of using the models. Okay. Yeah, the MMDs.
And share the latest locations for group activities, functioning similarly to a Weibo fan plaza. Now, Tanhua has established an XJJ QQ channel, which according to their own data has over 30,000 members. I'm assuming QQ is, okay, it already tells us. QQ is similar to Discord with multiple sections for like chats.
Okay, so we went from 20,000 members to 30,000 members. Established a QQ channel, which according to their own data has 30,000 members. Okay, so how big is this group is what I want to know.
Forum style boards, so on and so forth, with some of those boards solely dedicated to doxing people, others for sharing propaganda, and others for sharing scripts for coordinated attacks. And if XJJ urgently
have used tags like Xianwu Budan and with this blaze to coordinate and share the latest locations for the group activities.
Needs to target somebody, a specific individual, or a specific game, they can create a temporary section and just ping everybody, instantly notifying all of these jobless freaks to join the attack. Think about the power of 30,000 unemployed individuals who have literally nothing better to do with their lives than just hate on games. Think about how much damage 30,000 unemployed individuals can do who have nothing better to do than just jerk off to HI3 characters or Genshin Impact characters and shit on every other game that doesn't.
Like, it is a sad existence, isn't it? When you think about it like that, that is a fucking sad. It is a bit of a sad existence to like, you know what? Yeah, Mona from Genshin. I'm just gonna like jerk my wiener to that all day and dedicate my entire life to something that doesn't even exist. A 3D virtual woman who isn't even gonna like say anything to me. Hey guys, at least I may be a 2D woman, but at least I will respond to you. At least I will actually talk to you. If you're gonna jerk off, do you know what? I'm not even gonna say that.
Fall under the Hoyo umbrella. If an XJJ member wants to start countering critics, they can simply check the doxing board for targets, copy and paste whatever the attack or the scripts are, and then follow the links to complete the attacks. And when you see all of these detailed directions for how to report Wuthering Waves, what exactly to say, talking about like the pornographic nature or the outfits and all of that,
Saying calling out unemployed people launching an attack on other games is ironic, considering he himself makes insults and attacks on other games too. There is something to be said, right? That Saint has a very large platform, okay? And he has like, maybe like 1,000 people sometimes these days watching him. If he doesn't like a video and he criticizes it, there's a high chance that video will suddenly be flooded with comments of people who have watched Saint's reaction kind of mirroring his thoughts. That is just the truth now, right? So, you know, Blood's got his own influence in some way, right? Whatever Saint doesn't like around Wuwa, you can guarantee a lot of people will also adopt his thoughts and go comment the same thing. Is what it is, right?
And we're seeing the actual proof of it from CN websites. What do you think is going on in those private discords? The process is highly efficient, making XJJ's coordinated
exactly
attacks.
What happened with Psyche? Yeah, I feel that. No, I think listen, not to stop war or drama. I think a lot of that is what happened. I don't think that's Saint's fault. That's not Saint's fault. He can't control what his audience does. But I do think a lot of people that watch him are people who are very opinionated, and they also probably think Saint's views have good standing because he's a guy that has a lot of quote-unquote good takes, so they take his view in high standing, and they'll probably use his thoughts and probably parrot them in other places. But it's not his fault. It's like, it's just what happens. And I think it's a shame because I thought Psyche's video, while there were flaws for sure, I didn't think it was a bad video. And I don't think it should have been like shat on as much as it was.
Very effective. Additionally, XJJ operates multiple internal Discord QQ groups with strict anti-spy measures, requiring a high-level Honkai Impact 3rd or Genshin Impact account and a long-term Bilibili account for verification. This makes it nearly impossible to infiltrate because you need to have like a track record of like wailing on MiHoYo games or like heavily supporting MiHoYo games or like creating content on them. So they even have like a security system built in to ensure that they don't have any outsiders barging into their community, because people who hate Mihoyo games, right? Or want Genshin Impact or HI3 to get better and have quit, they're not going to be to actually join it in the first place. And they closely follow those kernels that we listed out before in that non-SU faction.
I didn't think that Psyche video was that bad.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit crazy, guys. And so when it comes to those group attacks and scripts, they seem to have nothing to do in real life. XJJ seems to have nothing to do. XJJ seems to have nothing to do in real life, spending all of their time online actively searching for Mihoyo hate or rival game scandals. Once found, they typically mobilize dozens of members within 10 minutes. Common scripts include, let's just see over here, when attacking, XJJ sometimes spams abstract phases similar to V8 style, flooding comment sections with irrelevant, unhinged essays, swapping the subject to an emperor or others, and at first glance, it doesn't look like defending Mihoyo at all, but a small, unrelated group, disrupting normal discussions. However, unlike Playful Madness, XJJ's limitation is meant to deflect criticism from Mihoyo. This part doesn't really matter too much, right? I do believe this is more about like the defense part that's going on, but you also have to think about the attack part. And so we're already seeing here what the example of the script is for what you need to do when you send the report. They're going ahead and they've already written it down. It's in public spaces. We don't even need to be in the XJJQQ group to see what exactly is going on over here. And so if they're
For the Psyche video, people hyper focus on a couple of wrong statements, although they don't really affect the main critiques bro had. No, I think that's exactly what it is. I think there was a couple of things that were like, yeah, this isn't particularly right. And then people kind of used that throughout the rest of the video to discredit the whole thing. And I feel like that wasn't fair, personally.
They're confident enough to be posting all of this stuff in public forums, then they probably manufactured this sort of stuff.
This is so ironic since he does what they do as well, spending time streaming all day, talking about drama all day. Hey, am I the same? At this point, am I the same? I'll be real. Do you know how I view myself? To me, I view myself now as like an entertainer. Do I play gacha games? Yes. Do I play mostly Woowa? Yes, because I really like the game. Will I talk about things happening within the community? Yes, because I find it fucking interesting and entertaining. I'll be real. Like, if you guys consider me someone who is like, oh, I want to watch Kat because I want the most base takes and opinions and I want to hear from her, I appreciate that. Right? But if you also, I kind of want people to be like, you know what? This is just kind of fun and funny and maybe informative at the same time. I don't know. Like, I don't want to be someone who's just always talking about drama all the time. I'll be real. Does that happen occasionally? Yes. Because like, if I find it personally entertaining, I'm going to talk about it. Like, I'll just watch things that I find personally entertaining, right? You base, oh fuck you! I'm so incredibly based. What do you mean? But I will engage in things that I just find personally entertaining. And do I find drama entertaining? You goddamn right I do. You're goddamn right I find drama entertaining, and I will fucking watch and milk that bitch like crazy. So that's it. If I find personal enjoyment in it, I will talk about it. If suddenly one day I fucking don't like Woo and I don't want to play it, guess what? I ain't gonna play the game. I will do whatever I find is entertaining. But I hope you guys don't just like take my opinions and then use them to spread them another. I don't know. Be critical thinkers. I consider you all to be my gacha children, okay? I would like you all to have your own critiques and critical opinions that you can take to other places. Take mine with a grain of salt. You know, argue with me if you like. You don't have to always agree with me, but I think, you know, have your own views too. It's very important.
Way back in those.
No, I'll watch the Psyche video. I'll watch the
very high verification,
the second one.
very
I'll
high
watch it later.
security QQ groups. And so that's where all of this stuff is going, ladies and gentlemen. And I do believe
she's grooming. I'm not grooming you guys. I'm just saying I will be your gacha mother and I will look after you, okay? And it will be fine.
Considering
I'm the
that
gacha
CN
mama
is typically the one responsible for these age
I will be the
ratings
gacha
going up.
mama.
The CCP is the one responsible for these age ratings going up. And we know that this organization is based in China. Well, it's becoming more and more clear, assuming that we can take what's in this wiki page as, you know, more of a fact.
I don't think this is about opinion. Reviews also need to be present. Oh my god. Present in the facts, and that's how affect the opinion of the reviewer and the videos and the story. When you don't go over the content you were supposed to make the review where the issue is. He did that with Lazy Peon did to Guild Wars 2 Soda. It was just as sad to be the Woo story section as a day one player as it was a Guild Wars 2 Soda reviews almost 12 years ago, Guild War veteran. Honestly, I just think I just don't think his video was as bad as people made it out to be. I think in the wooer section, there were like 2 things that were a bit like, maybe like not completely there, but I understand what he tried to say. And people just harked on those points for the rest of the time and said, oh, his wooer section sucked, which I don't think it really did. Maybe we'll go back and watch it. You know, fuck it. Maybe we'll go back and rewatch the video. Maybe we'll do that. Gacha Mother, pretty sure you have Gacha Demon though. That's the source. I accessed that link that was in that tweet. The source for all this is on a wiki page that quote unquote is a wiki for internet idiocy and where people send reports of people being idiots. Wait, what? Literally anyone could send submissions to this shit. It doesn't look like they require any proof or anything. It's literally a wiki where you send submissions of people being idiots on the internet / rats. Yo, Fig, do you have me on Discord? Can you send me some like screenshots? Can you send me some screenshots or something? I would like to see. Are we recording a YouTube now? Nah. How old are you? I'm 26. I'm 27 this year. It wasn't too bad, but bro lied a lot. I don't think he lied a lot. I still don't get it. How the CCP is responsible for Peggy rating. It's not. Exactly. No, this is exactly why I think this is weird. Because, like, they're not... Like, okay. If we look up the Peggy rating... Okay, if we look up the Peggy rating... It gives content... blah, 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 blah. Pan-European Game Information is a European video game content rating system. A European video game content rating system. How is a group of 20,000 in CN changing the Peggy rating of WoWA? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Who decides? In the UK, Peggy 12 season 18 rated games supplied in physical form, blah, blah, blah. The game's rating authority is appointed by the government as the body that issues these age ratings. The Game Rating Authority. These are the people that decided we were a 16 plus in the UK. These are the people that actually decided the game is 16 plus. Not some like weird group on CN. Not some like weird edit product title. Wuthering Waves. No games found. It's not even there. It's not even in their system. Oh, there we go. Genshin Impact is there. The game has received Peggy 12 because it features depictions of non-realistic looking violence towards human-like characters, not suitable for persons under 12 years of age. Wuthering Waves isn't even in the game's rating authority. So how does it have a Peggy rating? I think you seriously underestimate the influence the CCP has on media. Even Disney bows down to the CCP. Okay, so are we suggesting that this group of retards in CN, the XJJ, whatever you want to fucking call them, have enough influence to influence the CCP, and then the CCP takes that and then goes to Peggy and is like, hey, make this game 16 plus, all because of that small group of people? You really think that's what's going on? Do we really think that's what's going on? Because that's what like this video is claiming, right? This video is claiming that this group is like making all this shit happen, giving it a 16 plus rating. It's not providing any proof of how this is getting a Peggy 16 rating. To me, like, this is like the thing that I am most confused with. They have to literally go to this website, the Games Rating Authority, and somehow the CCP is now controlling this. The CN take nudity seriously? No, absolutely. But my point being, do you really think they're going to influence the Games Rating Authority, that group of people? Hi, Ethan. I personally remember the one time the CCP messaged me saying, bro, you gotta stop twerking. It makes sense. Isn't Mihoyo tied to the CCP now, so any competitor of Mihoyo are on their target list? It's a rating shown in the Play Store. You only get Peggy because you are located in the EU. Yes, I know. I'm aware. Let's go to the Google Play Store. It's Peggy 16, guys. It's Peggy 16. But it's not on... This is why it's really weird. It's Peggy 16, but on the actual Peggy site, it's not there. On the actual Peggy site, it's not there. It's not here. That's what I find is really strange. It's Peggy 16 on the site where they rate the Peggy games. It's not here. Isn't that a bit weird? Maybe they're in legal conflict right now. CCP only affects what happens in China. It won't affect what Peggy rating a game has. Right, exactly. That's my point. Couple of screenshots from that website link. The fact that this is the proof is hilarious. Let's see. Here you go. Translate to the pages. This is the page that is directly linked. Organization model army. Not all of it is there, but you can tell it's just the thing he tried to read out. I've also sent the translated homepage and then the example of report submission. The website guidelines. Sorry, but you might need to zoom in a bit. Zoom out, send multiple screenshots. Okay, let me open all these. Let me open all these. Okay, guys, we've got information. We have information. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, it's a wiki page. The Immortal Army. The Immortal Army. So this is the thing that Saint was reading out. This is the thing that Saint was reading out. Spray Dog Encyclopedia. Record the maggot spraying deeds and send your submissions to pensheendog@gmail.com. The Pen Dog Encyclopedia of internet idiocy with 213 interfaces. The website aims to record the behaviors of the trolls and other internet idiots by swearing, fishing for fun, opening accounts at will, etc., who pollute the network environment. Please. So this is the website. So this is where this comes from. All of this right now is coming from a website that's meant to expose retards. If you have any questions, this website is a patriotic website. The purpose of recording the critics is to record the many cancers on the internet and contribute to cleaning up the internet. Any user's contribution shall not contain content that sells China. Right. So all of this is coming from a site that's made to expose retards. It's basically a shame. So that link is what it's from. Okay. Okay. I feel like it'll be interesting if we could actually find where the posts are from initially. If we could find out where the posts are initially like coming from, I think that would be useful.
Than a theory or just a guess. Well, it appears we might have found the individuals responsible, ladies and gentlemen. We might have found the individuals responsible for...
I think it's a stretch to make any kind of factual claim. I do. Because I really don't understand how that can influence a PEGI rating. I really don't understand, because there are still some places where it is 12, right? If you go on the Apple Store... Wait, if I go on the Apple Store real quick. If I go on the Apple Store, and if I search for... Not Apple Store. So on Google, it's 16 plus because of a PEGI rating. On Apple, it's 12 plus. What age rating does Apple use for apps? So, okay. International age. In the UK, Apple's App Store uses the IARC, International Age Rating Coalition Systems, as guidance to rate games like Minecraft. Okay. International Age Rating Coalition. Is there a website we can use? Is there a website we can use? So this, okay, Apple's using this. Apple's using this, and according to the IARC, it's 12 plus. PEGI says it's 16. 12 plus for Denmark on Apple Store too. Well, there we go, right? PS5, maybe 16 plus. It seems to be an issue between PEGI and the... honestly, this is my crackhead theory. This is my crackhead theory. I'll be real. As much as I would love to say that this is an issue with CN and the CCP and Hoyoshills, because that will fit my agenda as a KURO bot, what I think is happening is a dispute between PEGI and the IARC. That's what I think is happening. I think here, there's probably some kind of dispute happening on whether or not nudity is involved or not. And the IARC don't see it that way. And it's probably something going on between them. And Wuwa is trying to get that sorted out. That is what I think is happening. Honestly, it's like, what's the thing? It's like Occam's razor, right? Whatever has the most simplest, like, explanation is probably one that we should think about. You know what I mean? I think that's what's happening. Everything that's 16 is a PEGI 16, and everything that was an IRC is a 12. I think it's a dispute between the two. I think the rating systems are different. Wu was probably just trying to get the PEGI rating lowered. I don't think this has anything to do with Hoyo Shills. I'll be so real. That's my 2 fucking cents. That's my 2 fucking cents. I really think in China, where it was 16 plus from day one, they have stricter ratings than we do. They have stricter ratings than we do. That's what it is. Love in Deep Space is 12 plus here. It's fucking 16 plus in China. It's not even CCP. They don't even look into it unless community points it out. It's the Hoyo Shills, the greatest disgrace in gadget community. What the heck? Why is Cap being this smart? I don't know. I just think it's really weird to be like, oh, it has to be this weird 20k, 50k internet group of trolls that are somehow influencing the whole of the PEGI system, a European, like, governing body in a way to rate games. A small group of people influencing the CCP, which are influencing Peggy. Why haven't they done it with the IARC then? Why haven't they done it with the IARC? There's a reason why. And is there a reason why when you search for Wuthering Waves in the game's rating authority, it doesn't appear? So it's like, there seems to be something going on. I don't think it's as deep as people think it is. While I would like to use it to shill my Hoyo bad agenda, I don't think that's the case. I really don't. They have different rating criteria. Yep, they have different criteria. This rate is applied once the depiction of violence or sexual activity reaches a stage that looks like the same as it would be expected in real life. The use of bad language in games with a PEGI 16 rating can be more extreme, while the use of tobacco, alcohol, or illegal drugs could also be present. I agree that Wuwa shouldn't be PEGI 16. I agree that it should be 12. I agree it shouldn't be 16, but they got done for nudity. That's the reason. It got done for nudity, so I want to, you know, maybe they're disputing that. That's all what it is. I'm telling you, it's not related to PEGI. It's not related to PEGI. It's usually dev team that put restriction in for game store, and then the store check and approves the age rating. Do you think Wuwa is intentionally making the game 16 plus? The age restriction of an app on the Google Play Store is primarily determined by the app developer, who submits a content rating questionnaire through the Google Play console. This questionnaire assesses the app's content, such as violence, language, and mature themes, on Google's rating guidelines. Google then assigns an age rating using the International Age Rating Coalition IOC system or regional rating bulls at EOSB or PEGI for specific markets. My guess is KURO changed the rating due to pressure from China. That's why it got modified worldwide. But it's not. It's still 12 plus on the Apple Store. It's still 12 plus on the Apple Store, which uses a different rating system. Like, it's already, why would they have pressure from China? In China, it's already 16 plus. We were playing a 12 plus game. It was already 16 plus in China. You think China are like, no, other countries, it should also be 16 plus. I don't think so. Why would they give a fuck? It's already 16 plus in their country. It's already 16 plus in that country. 12 plus in Germany? Well, there we go. They should not censor it and stay 18 plus IMO because it's a gacha game. Someone reported it, Captain. Brother, I don't think we need to talk like we know what we're talking about. I don't think anybody knows. I don't think anyone truly knows what's going on. I think the least likely outcome is claiming that Hoyo Shills are the reason behind this. I'll be real. That seems to me to be the least likely outcome. I don't know, man. I really don't know. The game's already 16 plus in China.
This sort of stuff happening. And so that's why a lot of people are saying, well, it seems like XJJ are the ones involved. They're the individuals that are going ahead and essentially sabotaging Wuthering Waves. And so hopefully, right, this has provided more context, more of a rundown into the brigades, into the mass reports, into all of the controversy, right, surrounding the removal of our fabric seams and surrounding the removal of our...
I just don't... Because now the narrative is going to go around that it's absolutely Hoyoshills that made this happen. Now the narrative is going to go around that it's Hoyoshills, this group of Hoyoshills that did this to Wuwa. When there still is zero proof. This video still has zero proof that that's the case. Like genuinely, there's like words and talking about what they might do. There is zero proof of any of it actually happening. And now the narrative is going to be, oh, it's the Hoyo Shills that reported it. So yeah, somehow that means the PEGI system is now 16 plus and still 12 plus in App Store. Yep. It's like, it's actually going to drive me insane because I know that's what's going to happen. I bet if I read these comments, that's what I'm going to see. Listen, all respect to Saint, but holy fuck. It will force KURO to walk on eggshells with their character designs because of this. Other fandoms will find another reason to report the game because the game is becoming rival. The 60 plus has nothing to do with things in game. It has to do with being reported. That is my problem with the censorship. This ain't even the worst thing Hoyo community has done, but honestly, it's cutting it pretty close. Hoyo extremists being deranged. I hope KURO sues their ass for damaging company image. The Hoyo Shills situation is crazy. I hope these freaks don't harm people working on KURO. Bro, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like now the main Wuwa guy is putting it out there front and center that it's Hoyo Shills that are causing the censorship. I don't know how I feel about this. I'll be real. I don't know how I feel about this. I'll be real. It's just like, I think it's entirely possible that there's a group of people reporting, right? But I think it's such a stretch to now claim it as the reason why the game's sabotaged and to plant that seed in people's minds. Are you really surprised about what Saint is doing? I thought we had already accepted the fact that he will take any narrative and make a content farm out of it. I don't think he's known for being consistently right. Listen, I'm not here to instigate drama. I just think this video is framed in a way just to grab it, and I really just feel the whole thing is framed like anti-Hoyo bad Ho is the whole reason for all of this. Do you agree with him? No, I don't agree with the framing of this video. No, I don't. I don't agree. I don't agree with the framing of this video. Nikkei's Peggy 12. Sexual innuendo, mouth swearing. Why is Nikkei still... Okay. Asking the question, why is Nikkei still 12 plus? I don't think is a valid retort to me saying I don't think Hoyo Shills are the reason why the Peggy rating is now 16 on the Google Play Store. I think coming up, why is Nikkei 12 plus then isn't like a valid like response to that, a retort to that at all. Wuthering Waves is the bigger game than Nikkei. Wuwa is just the bigger game. Like, where is the proof that it's Hoyo Shills? What if it's literally the parents of these Wuwa players, not actual Hoyo players will welcome the war and we'll see another war? That's what I mean. I think this is so dumb. There's no actual proof of anything we have seen that it was Hoyo Shills. There is a group of idiots that we've seen that do stuff. I don't disagree that they might brigade some kinds of content. I disagree to that at all. I think that's entirely possible. I think it's entirely possible. But I don't think, like, where's the proof? But where's the proof? Yeah, so I think we could just say that Saint is smart, create an agenda, and then make content based on it. It's like he's creating both the problem and the solution at the same time, just like many gacha businesses. Soki, it seems like you gotta have a bone to pick, I'll be real. I feel like low-key you kind of have a bone to pick here. I don't agree with his video framing. I don't agree with the video framing at all. Am I wrong? I mean, you've just stated your opinion. I'm saying I don't agree with the framing of his video, but I don't think his whole content is based around creating an agenda and making content out of it. I just think in that one particular video, I don't agree with the framing of. I think it's a video that's very divisive. I think it's a video that's very divisive and very instigative without really much proof of that claim. Claims that, like, he's trying to say or portray. I think in this video, there is absolutely no proof of, like, anything that's being said apart from here is some subjective evidence of this group existing. There's actually zero proof about it, and I think it is just like do we really a dumb group of 20k people is the reason why a Peggy rating's changing? Talk one-on-one with Saint Tontus. There is no winning. It works. It gets him views. What's the point? Am I supposed to tell him to not get the bag? Even if he stops, someone else will do it. It's not Saint's fault. It's the people's fault. I personally don't like it, but really, what can I tell him? I mean, it's true. No one could police other people's content. All we could do is like say that, I don't like it, and that's really it, right? But why is Wuwa getting plus 16 Peggy rating so problematic? Isn't it like we were getting EOS off the rating changes? No, but it does affect their advertising ability. It affects their sponsorships. It affects a lot of things, right? It does affect a lot of things if your game is 16 plus. Personally, I don't mind if it's 16 plus. I don't mind. I personally don't mind.
Actually sabotaging Wuthering Waves. And so hopefully, right, this has provided more context, more of a rundown into the brigades, into the mass reports, into all of the controversy, right, surrounding the removal of our fabric seams and surrounding the removal of our, you know, of our swimsuits and the replacement of that into...
What sponsorships do gacha games get? Having collaborations with like Samsung or like Apple, for example, the big corporate events, being sponsorships where your game gets featured on some like tech demo, right? All those sorts of things, right? All those sorts of things. that not necessarily sponsored, but opportunities too, where they could be featured. If Apple is showcasing new games on a big stage, are they going to show a 16+ game or a 12+ game, right? It affects all those kinds of things.
Spats. I know at the end of the day, this doesn't necessarily solve the problem for a lot of people. I see people in my chat, I see people online talking about how, oh, this is like unacceptable that KURO is going ahead and they're making updates to the game after I've already pulled the character. I can hear you. I can understand where you're coming from with those concerns. But believe me when I say, if the CCP is involved, if the CCP is in a sense responsible for the updates that are occurring, believe me when I say, if you don't listen to the CCP, you're going to be in some pretty big goddamn trouble with the government. And that's something you really don't want to do in China. And so I would ask you, right, to have an open mind about these updates, about...
It's like, this is why it's not even about the devs. Like the CCP, it's at that point, it's out of the devs' hands, right? The devs of Wuthering Waves cannot say, hey, make my game 16+ or 18+, please. They might be able to put that in initially, but they don't get to decide the rating of their game. It's an independent body that decides the rating of your game. So it's not the CCP that's controlling the WUWA devs in some way, right? It's more like the CCP would have to control the actual rating agencies to change the titles and the names. You know what I mean? Asking me to be open-minded while CCP being closed-minded sounds a bit like H-word to me. You should look at Glaive Kyo, got himself a 3D model. Yeah, I know. I saw it yesterday. It looks really cool. It looks really cool. I just think this whole shit is just cringe. I'll be real. This whole shit is cringe. Peggy 12. Sexual innuendo. The sexual innuendo. What is this rating? Also Peggy 12. It's making a big deal out of nothing. Yeah, I prefer gacha games to be +18 because I have young cousins that are wasting my aunt's money on lads and HSR. Honestly, I feel all gacha games need to be 16+. I think all gacha games need to be 16+. I think this is the problem, just straight up nudity. In the first place, even if it does affect advertisement and shit, what does that have to do with you, the player? Are you the company? Trust me, the game makes more than enough money to stay afloat. It's a gacha game. All gacha need to be 18+ gambling. Yeah, I feel, for me, like 16+ is like fine. 18+, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Because I feel if we're talking about that, then maybe any game that has any kind of microtransactions at that point would be 18+. Do you know what I mean? And they're not. I think any game that offers some kind of power boost or loot box needs to be 18+ too in that regard. Like any game with like a loot box mechanic should be 18+. For any and every gacha, not gonna lie. Straight up, get them kids out of gacha games. It's just gambling with pretty pixels slapped on it. It is crazy. But it's not microtransactions, it's literal gambling. Okay, that's why I'm clarifying to loot box situations where you have a chance to get a certain reward. You have a chance to get a certain reward. Who hyped for Wuthering Cubes? See the Cubes trailer? Yeah, it's really cute. It's really cute. Who realistically cares about age rating? I've been buying GTA games since I was 8. Look at FIFA. It's the biggest loot box money grab scam and it's 3+ or 6+ rating. Yeah, like, wait, there's like a mini FIFA, right? Wait, FIFA rating. There was like EA Sports, right? EA Sports FC rating age. It's a Peggy 3 rating. Yeah, FIFA's just a glorified gacha game and it's rated 3. It's rated Peggy 3. It's a 3+ game you could spend thousands on. EA Sports FC, bro. Like, come on. Like, come on. FIFA bought the government. To be honest, KURO bots are trying to protect KURO too much. They are silent about issues or enforcing CS censorship on all regions for no reason. The loot box craze is everywhere. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Diablo immoral age rating. The biggest gacha game in the world is FIFA. No, it's true though. It's true. Fucking FIFA. EA Sports FC. EA Sports FC is the biggest gacha game. FIFA is famous for bribing government officials. Bro, I saw the whole documentary. I saw the documentary on that. But that's why it's not called FIFA anymore. It's called EA Sports FC. It's not even about FIFA. I don't mind grinding a game for loot. Even League is a gacha game now. All this over just one line of a character model and from an angle nobody will ever see. The biggest unseen cost from this overblown issue, it makes devs afraid in all aspects of the game trying new stuff or change stuff. EA's literally lobbied the Senate in the US to avoid regulations. It's just so cringe. I think we can all agree it's just incredibly fucking cringe. I have no one to blame but people, to be honest. It's just kind of cringe.
These changes, I would ask you to have an open mind about why KURO is, you know, you could say in a way, bending the knee to either public perception or the government's perception. Because in all honesty, if they want the game to thrive, if you want KURO to still be able to like actually...
Again, I think also keep an open mind that it's not KURO who gets to decide really the age ratings. It's a different body that gets to decide it. And it's very weird that the Wuthering Waves does not appear in the game's rating authority for PEGI, which is where it's 16 plus in the Google Play Store. If KURO was really bending the knee... Okay, think about it this way, right? Think about it this way. If KURO were really bending the knee to the CCP to change their game to 16 plus, why haven't they done it on the Apple Store yet? Why, if they were bending the knee on telling the games stores and the ratings to change like themselves, no, make it higher than what it should be, why didn't they change it for the Apple Store? Why did they only do it for the Google Play Store? Is it, maybe it's got something to do with the fact that they use 2 different rating systems. Okay. Maybe that's due to the fact they use 2 different rating systems. So I think that's really the thing here to keep an eye out on, right? If that was really true, why are there 2 different age ratings? And I think that should have been mentioned here, but it's not. You know,
make Wuthering Waves and continue developing it and, you know, have a future for this game. This is kind of what they have to do. And so with that, hopefully we provided all the context. We provided all the glue. I just want to clarify that, of course, this is just a theory. If that wasn't close enough, if I haven't stated that enough, it is just a theory for what is going on. But a lot of the pieces are fitting. And we've already seen a lot of behavior like this already.
It's just a theory, but... It's just a theory, but...
comes to tarnishing the
It's a theory, but look at all this proof. And there isn't really that much proof. I don't like this.
Reputation of this game. And so with that, let me know what you all think. Peace.
If it was really the case that KURO were bending the knee, they would have changed everything already. A game theory. A game theory.
I got you, brother. Oh, no, you don't.